Good morning. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to join us, and then we will get started. All right, I'm going to get started. Good morning. I wanted to try to make this experience kind of normal, although I know it's very different. But I'm talking right now at this very moment. So I see 8 of you guys are with me. That means that we're here at the same time. And then what's going to happen is that when this is done, I'm going to have a link and I'm going to copy and paste this whole video into your slides. So if you want to ever review it and see it again, you get to see it again. Or if somebody isn't with us right now at this very moment, they get to see it later on too. Okay, so we're going to see how this works. I don't know if we're going to like it or love it, but maybe we will. We'll continue it. And if not, we'll make adjustments, just like anything else we do with technology, right? All right, so what I did is I made an agenda, just like what we do, like a schedule for the day, and I want to go over that because that's normal for us, right? We do that. And so here's my whiteboard, and I got to tell you, it felt very normal for me to write this out because it felt more normal, like here's my morning routine, here's what I'm doing. So I know it's making me feel like, okay, we've got this. This is just like old times, right? So here's our schedule for the day. And now this is optional. I'm not telling you you have to follow the schedule, but I will say this is what I'm going to follow. This is what my kids are going to follow. And it's kind of normal for us, like a normal day anyway. So it might help you. So we're going to do math right now at 9. And at 10 o'clock is specials. So 10 o'clock would be like whenever you wanted to go into to see what Coach K is posting for you guys to do, or Miss Bailey with kindness things. Mr. Foley has been posting things for music, so that would be a great time. Or if you want to just explore some art, that's great too. So think of that time as like specials. And then at 10:30, we'll do some reading. And so here's what's going to happen. Right now, we're going to do math together, where I'm going to be telling you guys some things and showing you how to do the work. And if you want to take some notes so that you know how to do the strategies, that'd be great. But for reading, I'm going to make you a video, and I'm going to post the video into the slides for you. So right now you're getting me live, but then for the 10:30 hour, it'll be a recording of me, and I'll post that for you, okay? And then I'm calling it recess. No, not recess. Lunch first, and then recess. Do whatever you want. And then I have science here, and I'm going to tell you that science is a bit more open. I'm not making specific assignments for science. I'm going to focus more on the reading and the math. But I do have science in there every day that if you wanted to watch a video and then share with us some interesting facts, you can do that. So science is there for every day, and then here's it in the schedule. And then after that, you have freedom. So do whatever you want, right? Okay, so a couple of things. I want to just kind of share with you what to expect from this. So we're going to do a couple of things. Any announcements? There is a chat that you can anytime type in something. If you have a question, a comment, or anything, and it'll show up in my chat box. So far this morning, good morning, Brian. Hello. And so if you have anything you want to ask as I'm in the middle of teaching or doing anything, you can chime in and with the chat by typing it out. Okay. All right. The other thing is, like what I mentioned before, if you need to see this again, feel free to play it again once I post it into our slides for the week. And yeah, so you ready to get started? All right. We're going to be doing a math lesson, and we're going to learn about dividing fractions. And I have to be honest with you, when I first did this, I thought, don't know if I know how to explain this well enough. And I've been working really hard on it because I know the rules that I grew up with. And I know that your parents probably had the same rules when they grew up. And I really had to, just like I do for any math assignment, figure out why it works. So I'm going to try my best today to make sure I explain why these things work and eventually get us to like an easier rule that we could do. But you know me, we need to make sure that we know why these equations work, right? And then we're going to wrap up at the end with number talk that I'm going to have you guys answer by going into Flipgrid and responding to the question. And then that you'll start your math assignments and everything else, okay? Hopefully you guys found your slides. I did put in there a sample schedule if you wanted to follow a schedule like I mentioned. And then you have the rest of the slides just like we've been doing for a couple of weeks, okay? So I made us a teaching poster, but I didn't have big paper like we normally would, so I had this little piece of paper that I'm gonna try my best to make sure you can see. So I'm gonna kind of adjust a little bit to see if this will help and get better, okay? So I want you to think about fractions. We've been doing fractions and multiplication of fractions, but now division, is related. So there might be some similarities to some of the strategies. And I'm gonna kind of tell you this in a way that applies to me too, with like reality, because I've been doing a lot of exercise. I don't know about you, but I've been doing a lot of things outside. I bought a few things for my own home gym in my garage because I missed going to the gym. So some of these questions, or the questions I'm going to kind of show you, is something about being physically fit and doing some exercise, especially during this time off, right? So I'm going to start with talking to you about if I have a whole number and I'm going to divide it by a fraction. So if I have a whole number, meaning the number 2, the number 5, the number 6, and I'm going to divide that by a fraction, like divide it by 1/2, divide it by 3/4, right? So here's an example. I walked 2 miles around my neighborhood, because in my neighborhood, I have this little trail that I can walk around. It's pretty nice scenery, and it's 2 miles. So I ran around, walked around. And I stopped and did lunges. Lunges are when you you bend with your knee, and then you do the other knee and the other knee. So I stopped and did lunges every 1/4 of a mile. So the question is, how many times did I stop? Okay. So let's think it through. We're going to, of course, use a model to explain this. All right. So if I think about this, like if this whole thing was my walk, here's my 0 where I started, and my walk, I walked 2 miles, right? I'm going to go ahead and mark where my 1 mile mark would be. And then I'm going to go ahead and circle in here what it was. I walked 2 miles and I stopped every 1/4 of a mile, right? 1/4 of a mile. So I know where that is because in 3rd grade and in 4th grade, we've been working on number lines. And so we know what this looks like, and in 5th grade too. So I'm going to go ahead and mark all my 4ths. So here's my 1/2. Here's my 4th, my other 4th. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. Now it's all cut into 4ths, right? So if I think about my stops, that means that I walked for 1/4 of a mile, and then I stopped and I did lunges. I walked another 4th mile, stopped and did lunges. Another 4th mile, stopped and did lunges, right? I'm going to mark what I'm doing so far. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. That's 1 mile, right? But I didn't stop there. I went 2 miles. So I'm going to keep going. 5/4, 6/4, whoopsie, 7/4, and 8/4. Those are all of my stops, right? If you think about all those jumps as being my stops that I did lunges. So now my question is, how many times did I stop and do lunges? I just have to count my jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I stopped 8 times to do lunges. 8. So let's think about the math that we actually just did, because all this does fit into an equation for a division problem. So let's think about what I started with. I went 2 miles divided by 1/4. So it's a whole number divided by a fraction equals 8. Something you'll notice is that my answer ended up being a whole number. Okay. There might be something else you notice about the numbers that are being used and how to quickly get to that answer. I'll give you a second to think about that. If I have a 2, a 1/4, and my answer ends up being an 8, there's something happening. All right, and then here's just another model, another way. So think about 2. Instead of using a number line, I'm going to show it to you as an area model. So if I have 2, let's just pretend it's in 2 circles, right? And I'm going to cut them into 4ths, just like I did my number line. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them into 4ths. So here's this one. Here's this one. And then I can count them: 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4. And then the question is, how many times did I stop? So I would have to just count how many pieces do I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Time. Simple. So I'm going to go back to that question of what did you notice? Yes, Brian and Jaden, I see you. What do you notice about the numbers? Well, Brian says that he notices that 2 times 4 is 8. So I'm wondering, where is the 2, where is the 4, where is the 8? Do you see it? So what ends up happening is that 2 times the 4 equals the 8. That numerator just kind of doesn't really matter right now because it's just a 1. All right. So let's try another one. I'm going to use my actual whiteboard. Let's see. Here's my marker. I was looking for this. Okay, let's just try another example. Okay. Sorry, move my stuff a little bit. All right, so let's just say I have 2. I'm going to divide it by a different fraction instead. Just see if it works. Okay. So if I have 2, I'm going to divide it by 1/3 instead. Just so you know, in 5th grade, we're going to leave that numerator as a 1 for now, I think. Pretty sure. Okay. So if I have 2, I'm gonna use a number line. I feel like that really helps me a bit. So I'm going to stick with the same kind of number line I had before, 0, a 2, and then a 1 right here. This time it's cut into thirds, right? So 3 jumps to get to the 1. 1, 2, 3. 3 jumps to get to the 2. 1, 2, 3. And so here's my 2. I've cut them into 1/3, and I have to count how many jumps would it take to get to the 2. So 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, 5/3, 6/3. It would take me 6 times or 6 jumps to get there. So let's check the strategy of just doing the rule, which is a bit faster, right? This 2 times the 3 equals the 6. Right? That's how I learned it. That's how your parents probably learned it. But trying to remember why or when do we do that? Because I know in multiplication of fractions, we ended up learning that the rule was the other way, right? If I was going to do 2 times 1/3, we end up thinking about the numerator and not really the denominator as much. And so keeping track of those rules can be tricky. So making sure that you understand why this works is really going to help you. Okay? So in your practice today, you're going to see some questions that look like this, and we're going to use our math book. And I know we don't normally use our math book, but we're going to use it today. Okay? And for a couple of days or I think it's about 2 weeks. But you're not going to have to do the entire booklet. And if you don't have your booklet because you weren't there on that last day on Friday, March 13th, then I also have the digital copy of it where you could just take notes on a piece of paper instead. But there is one more twist that you're going to need to know. So in this equation that we did, it was a whole number divided by a fraction. And we got a whole number. Something else happens when these two are switched. If the fraction is first and the whole number is second. Okay? So again, if you need to see this again, you get to play the video again, and you can take some notes if you want to. But now I'm going to show you another example, but this time I'm flipping that. And that equation, I'm going to do the fraction first and then the whole number. Okay? And we're going to start with the area model first. I'm going to open this up. We're going to start with the area model first because the example I'm going to use is about pizza. I don't know about you, but we've been eating a lot of pizza here at our house. It's something that we all love. And sometimes I just get tired of eating groceries because all the restaurants are closed, but it's okay. But we've been eating a lot of pizza. All right, so here's my example. This time I'm switching it though. So I need our brains to think about what the situation is actually asking, because I'm thinking about having a fraction first. So pizza will help us if we think about it that way. Let's say you're eating pizza with your family and there's a little bit left over, and there is 1/4 left over, right? So I have 1/4 of a pizza left over from dinner, and I need to share with Mr. Hodges. I know it's just a little bit, but I'm still going to share with him, right? So I'm going to share with Mr. Hodges. So the question is, how much of the pizza do I get to eat? So if I have to share with him, it's going to be something smaller for myself, right? So here's my pizza. I'm going to start with first going ahead and cutting it into fourths because it is. And then I'm going to shade in the 1/4 that's left. Okay, so here's 1/4, right? Now, I need to think about how many people am I dividing this by? Because it's Mr. Hodges in the question, but it's also for me. So that's how many people? That's 2 people. So if I'm going to think about that 1/4 of a slice and I'm going to share it with 2 people, I'm dividing it by 2, which is what the equation will be, is I'm dividing it by 2 because there's two people. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that in half so that there's 2. And if I think about how big is that one piece that I get to eat, I would have to figure out, well, what if they were all cut that big, at that size? So what would it be? And it kind of reminds me of that multiplication practice that we did when we think about the overlap and thinking about how small that piece really is. It's going to be one piece, but how small are those pieces, right? It's no longer in 4ths. Now they are in 8ths. So I get to eat 1/8 of the pizza. Okay. So then what math did we actually do? What's the equation that we would use? Well, we started with a fraction this time. So we started with 1/4 and we're dividing it by 2. So it's really that equation we did over here, but I'm flipping it. And I see you guys chime in there. I love it. Okay, I'm flipping it. So look what happened. 1/4, I'm starting with a fractional piece. I'm not starting with a whole pizza. It's a piece. Dividing it by 2, which is a whole number. My answer ended up being 1/8. So my answer was not a whole number. My answer was a fraction. So take a look at the work we just did. Oops, sorry. And what do you notice? I'm noticing that there's an 8, right? But I'm not getting a whole number. I'm getting a fractional piece. So I could decide on, well, to make this faster, I know I'm going to use, again, just that denominator times a whole number and getting the 8. But you're going to have to keep in mind that this is starting with a fraction divided by a whole number. And that means my answer is going to be a fraction versus the other way around, and knowing how to keep that straight. What helps me is to understand what you're starting with. So if I'm starting with a fractional piece, I'm thinking about, I'm not at a whole number, so I'm not going to get a whole number. You know, thinking about it like that. I'm already at a fraction, so my answer is going to be even less than that. And then this one, I'm starting with a whole number, and I'm getting a whole number. So if that helps you, you can think about it that way too. Okay, I'm going to show it one more way on a number line. So this one is going to be starting with 1/4. So I don't need to go all the way to 2 because I only need to show where 1/4 is. I'm going to go ahead and just go to 1. That's what I love about open number lines, that you can do whatever you want with it. You can use it for whatever scale you want. So now we know how to make our fourths. So here's 1/2, 4th, 4th. So it's saying that 1/4. So here is 1/4. I'm just going to put a dot there. There's 1/4. So that space right there is 1/4. Now, if I'm going to cut that into 2 pieces, I'm dividing it by 2. All I'm going to do is come in here and make another line in between the 0 and that line and that dot. So then I have to know, based on my practice, what is that spot then? Where is that on a number line? Well, I know that this is where 1/4 is. So if it helps for you to label your number line, you can do that. If that's where 1/4 is, what's half of a 4th? 1/8. So that's just another way to think about it too. Okay. All right. So I will take a picture of this and post it in Classroom or something. I haven't decided where I want to put it, but that way you have a copy of this page. But it would be helpful too if you took some notes for yourself, because I know with me, if I take notes and it's my own writing, my own brain, my own thinking, it helps me remember it better, or it helps me know when I look back at my notes what I meant or what it means. Okay. And the luxury of you guys get to watch this video too if you need to again. All right. Okay, so let's see. I will save this. I will take a picture of it and get it back to you. All right. So now I want to kind of talk to you about what is the next steps. Okay, so there's the math lesson. That's going to help you with your practice that you do today. And looking at your comments, I was so busy teaching. I'm just now reading your comments. I see most of you guys were right with me. I like it. You're noticing things. You see that it's the reverse. You saw that the answers were here. Good. Okay. And Freddie, not to worry if you're not here on time, because you get to watch it again. It is more fun when you're here right at 9 with me, but you can always watch it again if you need to. Okay. All right. So the next steps is going to be, we're going to do a number talk where I'm going to tell you a question, or I'm going to mention what the question is. And instead of having to go like this, because there's no need to wait like that, what we're going to do is you're going to go into Flipgrid, which is linked into our slides, and you're going to actually respond to this question. What I love about this is that everybody gets to respond, and then I get to hear everyone's responses and respond back to you. So I love that, because in a normal number talk, we usually only hear from like maybe 5, 6 at the most. But today we get to hear, and each time we do this, we get to hear from all of you. And so I'm going to respond to each one of you. I tried this out on Friday before spring break. Oh, Freddie. We tried this out on Friday before the spring break, and it went really well. It was really exciting for me to be able to hear each of your voices and see your little faces and be able to respond and give you that feedback to know if you're on the right track or not. So that was really great. So we're going to do that. Right after that, I'm going to have you guys go into those slides and start on your math practice. It's going to use this book, okay? And if you wanted to see a bit more practice, I'm not making you do this whole book. It's just going to be a couple of pages. The kind of work I showed you just now, if you wanted to review it, I started doing the work in here, is on page 357. I'm going to show it to you. 357. There's a very similar problem, or there's actually 2 very similar problems to what I just practiced with you, but you don't have to do that, but you can if that helps you. But the practice you're going to start today is going to start on 359, and it's going to have a practice of both ways, like having a whole number divided by a fraction, and then the fraction divided by a whole number. And so it's going to be just this page front and back. So that is how it looks on the front, and this is how it looks on the back. Okay, so it's just going to be those 2 pages. And what I'm going to have you do is you're going to take a picture of those 2 pages. And I made you your own slides in Classroom that you're going to post those 2 pictures just for accountability, just to show that you are working on it. And then that's it for math. Okay, if you want to do some iReady practice, you're more than welcome to do that. But it's for today, I'm kind of just taking it easy, having you just do those 2 pages in the book. Okay, think of it like a must do. This is the slides are pretty much like must-dos and may-dos. Then I'm looking at our reading plan for today. I'm going to be talking to you guys about reading later. So looking at our schedule, 10:30 is when I'm hoping that you guys will start working on some reading practice. I'm going to make a video actually right now to introduce for you the reading that you'll be doing today. And then I will be linking that into our slides as well. And so that won't be a live view. That'll just be where you're going to be able to watch that video and kind of get an introduction for the reading lesson for the day. And then if you have any questions, though, I will be back online every day at 1 o'clock answering questions. Classroom and Dojo for parents. And then that's also when I'm going to watch all your Flipgrids and respond to you and work on things. So that 1 o'clock hour is really going to be when I get to respond to everybody. So I will be sitting right here, responding. So if you have questions, use that form that we have set up in the slides that you can ask the question, and then I will work on answering everyone's questions in that Google Doc at the 1 o'clock hour. Okay? Any quick last minute questions in our live chat before I do a number talk and say adios for this morning? I'll give you guys a second. I miss all of you, by the way. I know I got straight into business, didn't I? I miss you guys a lot. I think this really helps me to feel like normal to do this. I don't get to see your faces, though, until I see Flipgrid. So I'm really counting on you guys doing Flipgrid. Okay? You're going to make me cry, guys. Isaac, you're more than welcome to eat. I can't see you right now. I'm going to take a quick picture of all of this because I want to remember how our first day went together on YouTube Live. Brian, I miss all of you so much. I'm hoping that this will really help us see each other every day and just in a different format. So you get to see me. Now I get to see you when you do your Flipgrid for number talk. I cannot wait. Okay, so I'm going to do a question that I'm hoping to get different types of answers. Like I'm hoping that not everyone does only one way, but that's okay if you do, if you want to just do that. But I think that we have been doing number talks long enough that you know that there's multiple ways to answer it. So think outside the box. I know that when I show you the question, it's going to be like, oh, I know the answer. That's so easy. But I also want you to challenge yourself to think about, well, if it is easy for you, and normally easy is like, oh, I got it. And then I always ask you to challenge yourself and think of another way, right? So now today I'm going to have you think about like, okay, I'm sure you're going to get it like this. But now think of like another way and maybe share that other way in Flipgrid if you can. If not, you can totally just do the normal, whatever you can handle. But I'm really hoping that some of you are going to be up for that challenge, okay? Trust me, when I show it to you, you're going to be like, come on. Okay, so I'm leaving my schedule here one last time if you want to see the schedule. So 9 o'clock math, which is what we're doing right now. It's 9:30 right now, so that means that you can spend the next half hour working on the assignment in the Go Math book, right? After Flipgrid, of course, because I want to see your faces. All right, here we go. So your question for today is 25 times 10. See, I told you. I know most of you would be normally in class just like this. So now I'm challenging you. What would another way to do it be, right? That's what I want to hear. If you want to tell me both, that's great. Or 3. I know some of you are more capable of other strategies. So go for it. Show off. Tell us what you're made of. Show us what you're made of, right? Okay. I want to know how, right? In Flipgrid. I want to hear your voice. I want to see your face. I want to see and hear and understand your thinking. Okay? I know it's easy. I told you. But this answer is going to build on tomorrow's number talk. So tomorrow's number talk will be a bit more challenging, but if you remember this answer, it might help you with tomorrow's answer too. Okay? All right, my friends. I am so thankful that there are 20 people logged in with us today, and I'm so, so happy to see that, because I'm really hoping to reach all of us, all 31 of us. So we still have some growing to do. Hopefully maybe those people who aren't with us now will be joining us later. Not joining us, but watching this video later. I'm going to post this exact video into our slides for Monday. You might see a big black square rectangle. That's where it's going to go. And then at 10:30ish, you will have your reading time. So you'll see a little link that says YouTube and it says Mrs. Hodges video directions. That's going to be where I put the reading directions for you. Okay? I love you all, and I can't wait to see your Flipgrid videos. Have a great day. Have a great morning, and let me know if you have any questions. All right. Bye, guys.